All right, guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully, some others will be joining us momentarily. Grounding the energy for a minute. All right, go ahead and start moving that body. Some of you already are. Start off with a little twisting. So we will go ahead and get this passcode waiting room situation sorted out. Some of you will be hearing this live. Some of you might be hearing this later, recorded, whatever the case may be. Wanted to give you a heads up that as we enter into the new year, Happy New Year, by the way. As we enter into the new year, every month is going to have a slightly different theme this year. And so our theme for January, it seemed like a very important theme for this month going into the rest of the year, is meditation. So you can think of this theme as a little bit of a highlight or an accent on our Qigong practice, something that I will be highlighting and speaking a little bit about throughout the course of this month. And then next month we'll lead into a slightly different theme, and so on. And you can actually check those themes out if you want. You can look at the descriptions in the months ahead on Zoom, like if you have the link, etc. You'll see it on there. I can't say 100% that they'll stay exactly the same. Depending on what happens on the planet, I might need to change it ever so slightly. But as of right now, I have selected 12 different themes. Again, the first theme for this month, meditation. So a lot of times in your life, you have this excess energy or nervous energy, or maybe even you're lethargic and you can't get up off the couch. It's kind of like a depressed kind of energy. So one of the things you want to do is you want to get your body moving. That works really well for stirring up stagnant emotion. It also begins to get not only the energy moving, but the blood moving, etc. And when I say etc., one important etc., so to speak, is that we also get the mind moving. That's a great place to start with your Qigong practice. Get the body moving and get the mind moving and get the emotions moving through a simple practice of twisting in this way. We're going to go a little bit longer with this, and then we're going to go from movement. You'll notice I do this a lot. Movement to stillness. We're going to go from movement to stillness, accentuating the state of in-between called meditation, which again, if you're just joining us, is the theme for this month. Using your breath, breathing in, breathing out, getting yourself a little tired with this. It's just twisting, but nonetheless, getting yourself a little tired. And then let it unwind. Hold the floor with your feet. Grip it. And sink, bend your knees. Hold your posture. If you're a beginner, so to speak, keep your eyes open. If you're a little more confident, you can close your eyes. But if and when you close your eyes, make sure you're holding the floor with your feet. Buttocks, thighs, abdominal area holding somewhat taut so that you can hold yourself up. As you become more advanced in the practice, you can actually start to really quiet your body down and quiet your mind down. We won't go there quite yet. Right now, I just want you to hold the posture, hold the stillness posture. When we practice stillness, not only are we practicing meditation, a form of meditation, we are gathering subtle energy, subtle chi to our body, to our emotional body. So what I want you to notice, we're just going to do this for like another minute or so. I want you to notice if there's a place in your body that's becoming uncomfortable, it's sore, it hurts, it's tired, whatever the case may be. I want you to notice that area, observe that area, but then bring your mind to the whole room, like feel the spaciousness of the whole room. So in other words, you're aware that maybe your left leg is tight or your right hip hurts. But you bring your awareness to the whole room. You're still gripping the floor with your feet. You're aware of this tension. Take a breath in, slow, easy breath. Let it out, and then just a little bit, just kind of shake it out. So wherever you felt that tension, that's where the chi is blocked. The chi is blocked right in that area where you felt the tension. So keep that in mind as we go forward, something to think about. Shaking the hands lightly up here. And then like we have water on them, we kind of want to get this off. We're going to keep it up here, make it light, nice and easy, nice and easy. So you can do it. Like try and relax your shoulders as much as possible, mainly using your hands and your wrists. And then throw the water straight down at the floor. Nice and easy, but toss it. Toss it. Bend the knees on the way down, toss it. Toss it. Toss it. And we're in one more time. Toss it. Good job. Take middle fingers. Place them together at the lower rim of the belly button. Hands are pressed flat against the tummy. Go ahead and grip the floor with your feet. Once again, be still. This is a form of meditation. This particular exercise helps to set the lower dantian on fire. Those of you who need more energy, higher quality energy, stamina, vitality, there's no greater energy, there's no greater vitality, etc., than Jing. Jing means essence, and some of you know this, some of you don't. Jing precedes Qi, comes before Qi. Qi, technically, in Oriental medicine, is not experienced or felt or usable until you have Jing. This exercise helps cultivate whatever Jing you have left, plus a little more. We'll just say it like that, okay? I think it's a good way to think about it for today. Stay with it. You may feel some discomfort again in different areas of your body. Try and relax it. Like right now, my shoulder blades, I just worked out a couple hours ago. My shoulder blades were already a little sore, and I can really feel like my lats and my shoulder blades kind of singing to me. I just want to observe that. I don't need to do anything about it because I'm already doing something about it. So I can feel the chi, and it takes time to understand what this means and so on, but I can feel the pressure, let's say it that way, in my shoulder blades and my lats, and it's moving upward. There's a squeeze happening. Some people will be like, hey, that's uncomfortable. I don't want to do this anymore. But if you understand that the squeeze is creating a pressure, and the pressure is leading to a release, that's when, you might want to practice this now and then. So go ahead and take a breath in. Then real easy, is let the hands come up for a second, reach, stretch up there, and hold for about 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then let the hands drop. Be still for just another moment here. Take your mind, and I recommend use your hand. Later, you might not need to use it. Go right to your forehead and touch your face, but imagine you're bringing the energy down. Touch the throat, go right down like the zipper line, like on your jacket or something, like that kind of idea. And bring it down just below the navel center, about 3 fingers below the navel center, and hold it with 2 fingers, like so. See my hand? 2 fingers or 3, you know, doesn't matter exactly. Hold that spot. Say 10 seconds. Then we're going to bring the left hand, going to draw it down, coming down, the right hand still being held there. When we get down to the bottom, we're just going to let the right hand come out. There's different ways to do it, but that's one way. And hold it with the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you're doing that, you're holding that, bring the right hand, come down again. Bring down mind, bring down the energy to rest and digest. Hold the right hand there, and then switch, left hand comes. Keep walking the mind down. It's a grounding exercise. There's other reasons for it. Improves digestion. Once that hand gets down there, switch, bring the other hand. Walk it down. You may notice this is starting to change your breath. Okay, for some of you, may not notice that yet. For some of you, you may notice, hey, that's starting to change my breath. Yes, it is. Because as you work with the lower dantian, you're working with your kidneys. Amongst other things, you're working with your kidneys. Those of you that have trained with me for a while, what do the kidneys control? They control the inhalation. Once you get down there with the one hand, you just switch it, come up, and walk it down. You're gonna do this a couple more times. One more time, here we go. And then we're gonna do a second one. So we'll do 1. And then we're gonna do 2. Now place your hands over the belly, just below the navel center. Again, most of you know this, but I like to place my thumb, one of my thumbs, doesn't matter which one, on the lower rim of the belly button. Because just below that, that's technically the lowest part of the lower dantian. And then the other hand goes on top. Some Qigong teachers will say, if you're a guy, it should be like this. If you're a girl, like that. Anyway, I recommend not worrying about that right now. In time, you might experiment with different hand positions, but the main idea is that where your hands go, your mind goes. So you're laying attention on an area that many masters have written textbooks about, they've talked about, they've taught for centuries. They've called it an elixir field. They've called it lower dantian. They've called it hada. They've called it a reservoir. They've called it a cauldron. It's an important area. For those of us that are interested in meditation, this right here is Taoist meditation, so to speak. This is a Taoist practice. But even in the Buddhist practices, you'll notice the Buddha holding particular hand postures here in the vicinity of the lower dantian. All right. Take a deep breath into your hands and try and lift your hands slow with your nose. Lift. with the breath. Exhale. When you're ready to take another one, take another one. If a yawn comes in between, go ahead and yawn, let it come through. When you're ready, another inhalation. Inhale, exhale. Good job, and shake it out. Some schools, you go to Qigong class, and I've done this with various masters. We would stand in a position like that, holding the hands for an hour, and sometimes literally much longer. But I find it's good. Let's come back to some twisting for, let's say, regular, every day, every week sort of Qigong practice. I find that it's best to incorporate different movements where you're going from some movement practice to stillness practice. And I do that because for myself, after practicing for all these years, I find that most people don't like the stiffness that comes from just being still all the time. Practicing stillness is a challenging practice. It's very good for you, but it doesn't feel that great. So I think a great way to sneak in, if you will, meditation practice in that way, stillness practice, is you go from movement practice to stillness practice, movement practice, stillness practice, and you rotate. And this way you get in a 3-minute meditation, and then you do some movement, you do some different things, and then you get in another, 3-minute meditation, let's say, and then you're back to get rid of that stagnation that has been stirred up from your stillness practice. Come back to stillness. Grip the floor with the feet. For those of you with shoulder issues, you're going to hold very low, right here by the belly button. Those of you that want to, prefer, whatever the case may be, to bring it up a little higher and hold it at the chest. Elbows drooping, shoulders not up, elbows not up, but rather down. And you're holding here, okay? Here is an elixir field. It's called lower dantian. Up here, we have middle dantian, okay? And moving into upper dantian, depending on how you define where these elixir fields are. So holding this position or this position, we're going to freeze for a moment and hold stillness posture. And this is going to stir up the stagnation and set on fire the stagnation in our emotional bodies. And then we will go back to movement. All right, especially for those of you holding your arms higher. You want to imagine like a puppet string. This is how I was taught it many years ago. A puppet string holding you up at the wrist. You're trying to droop this as much as possible. Keep the back straight. Pelvis is tucked forward, meaning the butt is not sticking out. And then let's try and be still for a brief moment here. Eyes open or closed, whatever's comfortable. If you get a yawn coming in through there, that's excellent. Use it, take advantage of it. You get some swallows coming in there, that's excellent. Take advantage of it. If not, don't worry about it. But yawning and swallowing, those are signs of the internals beginning to move. Reach up, take a breath in, and then just let the hands drop. Be still for just a minute. feel that energy or that blood, whatever you feel kind of moving around in your body. Feel it for a moment before we go into movement again. Find your breath, meaning watch it, observe it, try and find it. Breathe it in through the nose, slow. Breathe it out through the nose or the mouth. Either one is okay for now. And then once again, little bouncing, little movement. Shaking body. And let's do a little loosening up of the shoulders so both hands are coming forward. Nice, easy, really relaxed. Not like what you would do before you go play baseball or something. Just Qigong style, just nice, easy, mindful, going through a range of motion. The Qi likes to get really stuck for a lot of people up and through these areas, me included. And so moving the arms this way frees that up, okay? In my opinion, this would be a breast cancer preventative. And then as it gets maybe a little harder for some of you, it gets a little tense or it bothers your shoulder, make a lightly closed fist, very light. So it kind of makes like weights on the end of your hands, helps you swing it a little bit more. And then nice, easy, go back the other way. But here's what we're going to do when we go back the other way. Some of you know this one. Come underneath and let the right, so my right arm's under, I'm going to let my right arm do most of the lifting. Then I'm going to do the left arm. Then I'm going to do right arm. Then left. And again, it's nice, easy, trying to go through a range of motion, breathing, whatever feels comfortable to breathe there. You could do it this as an inhale. This is the exhale, if you want. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, or just swing it. Let it go. Put your left foot forward, let's say, and then my right hand is the one that's back, and I'm just going to go a little forward like this. A little forward. And a little back. And switch my legs. Back hand's going to swing forward. And back. If we take the right hand, it's the thumb in the ear one. But instead of the thumb in the ear, we bring it up. We brush the hair forward, pull the water from behind us, and push the water forward like if we were in a pool. The left hand or the opposite hand then goes, like you're going to put the thumb in the ear. Once you understand that, you can skip the thumb. Just make the movement. One hand goes. And then when you're ready, the other hand goes. And what you might want to do if you haven't started this already is once you make the movement, hold this hand on the hip. So the other hand makes this movement here. The other one's sitting on the hip. And then when you're ready, I just put that one on the hip and then the other one goes. Now, if everybody would come here with me and lift your hand, one of them, to where it's kind of like on top of your head, like so. If you want to get just a little bit more range of motion in this movement, you know how we do this stretch? Let's remind ourselves of this stretch. Put your hand on your hip and the hands like this on your head, and then you lean like we do that stretch sometimes. So for a moment, let's just do the stretch. And we'll get a little stretch and we'll also remind ourselves. So sometimes we do this, the hand can be this position where the palm is toward my head. Other times we can do it where the back of the palm is toward my head, like we do in this exercise. This one I'm showing you now. Let's switch to the other side. Put your hand on your head, just like we would if we were going to be doing this weird exercise. Not really exactly a name for it, although I call it dancing snakes. So if you want to remember it with a name, dancing snakes. But 5,000 years ago, I have no idea what they called it, okay? So you're here, you're stretching. Okay, so now let's come out of that stretch and now take whichever hand you desire and you're gonna go into this movement, right? Where you're gonna do the brushing forward, this weird business. Okay, so you're coming here, thumb into the ear, then back of palm, somewhat touching the head, don't hurt yourself. Thumb toward the screen, go out toward your left if you're using your left hand, out toward your right if you're using your right hand. And then this pushes forward like water, okay? We're gonna use that same hand, whatever hand you're using. So right here now, you can lean and stretch as you're going into that movement. Same hand, I lean. It's not exactly the same stretch. It's more like up in here rather than the quadratus lumborum, which is more like your lower back. But if you do it slow and mindful, you're reaching, stretching, and getting that latissimus dorsi muscle. And then come up with the other hand when you're ready. And again, you can reach, and here you just extend a little further. Make sure you're staying in your center. Make sure your core is somewhat taut and you're not giving up balance and power. That hand moves. But see, it doesn't stop. Once you understand it, it's not going to stop and stretch. It's just reach, stretch, keep moving though. And then we're going to switch up hands again. Once you understand it, if you want to try and play with that weirdness, it's a little weird. Movement to feel that in your body and play with it, reaching, stretching. And then when you're ready, a waterfall. Breath, sit your weight a little, let your breath slowly come out as it feels right to do so. You may need to catch up with your breath. So maybe to begin with, you're just emphasizing the movement of the hands. Moving the hands, slow, easy, whatever's comfortable for you. Mind, big, concentrated mind, concentrated energy coming down to the center line and going into the floor, to the ground. Inhale, exhale, slow, coming down. And inhale. Exhale, walk it down. One more. Hold your breath a little, bring the hands, come down only to heart. They come to heart and let the breath out. Hold this posture. We worked with this a couple of weeks ago for those of you that were with me. In fact, yes, we used this the last day of last year. Again, this is a mudra as opposed to mantra. This is a mudra. A mudra is a static position that you hold, and it causes energy to move around your body, move around your space in a very particular way. This is why, if you look at the Buddha in either one of the corners behind me, there's a big Buddha onto my left side and a small Buddha to my right. They're holding particular postures and they're cultivating energy in my space, in our space. Because they're sitting there quietly and they're holding what? They're holding mudra, a particular energy is created by holding this posture. I've held this posture for personal healing. I've also held this posture many times for bringing healing energies to a client, whether it was in person or at a distance, because this exercise can become quite potent with practice and with intention. Stay with this one a little bit longer. Again, we're using another stillness practice, emphasizing a little bit our theme of meditation, one way of doing it. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. Slowly come out of that. Once again, shake it out. Leave the hands kind of down here and walk the knees and the feet up and down just to get a little motion in there, clear some of that. And then hands just lightly moving down here. Nice, easy. All right. Hands moving like so, if that makes sense. We did one recently, like reeling silk, where the hands were coming out like so. Same thing now, but same idea. But the hands are facing my belly. So my palm is facing my belly. I'm pushing my backhand away, all right? And then I'm circling. To me, the interesting thing about Qigong, one of the interesting things about Qigong is that it's not just that we do something with our arms, right? I'm going to exaggerate. This is not very mindful what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of flailing my arms around. But the more that I get into the flow of what this feels like, what does it feel like? Feel. Connection. As I make this hand forward, it's like a push. As I bring this hand back to me, it's like a pull. So just from one hand alone, I have a push and I have a pull. I have a push. It's not over exaggerated. It's subtle. But you're doing that. And then also, if you can get the idea that you're pulling from the floor, and then you're circulating it, pulling. Not too fast, mindful of the movement itself. I'm going to be quiet for a minute, let you play with the energy of that. Find a speed that works for you to do for 60 seconds. And when you're ready, breathe a waterfall. Sweep away any debris that you have built up. Let that breath put it right into the ground. With the one hand, come up, bringing up sea of chi, and wash the opposite arm. Go down the fingers and put it into the ground. Come up the center line when you're ready with the other hand and put the energy down into the ground. And again. And then waterfall, wash. Middle fingers touch. Coming back to this meditation we did earlier, a short visit into this meditation again. Hold very still for a moment. Eyes open or closed. If the eyes are open, you're just gazing. You might notice as you look inward, something's going on. Something feels different in my body. Something feels different in my blood. I'm playing with something here. Hormone. I'm playing with blood. I'm playing with saliva. I'm playing with chi. I'm playing with my nervous system. Something feels different. Something's becoming active. And for some of you, you're either on the verge of activating Kundalini or you've already started to. Inhale, exhale, and shake it out. For our purposes, Kundalini is essentially a trapped chi at the base of the spine, okay? All right, take a little momentary pause, get a sip of water. All right, so all kinds of things that we're doing here with meditation today. Go ahead and as I'm talking to you for a moment, hold a basic standing tree meditation posture. That means my arms are kind of just hanging. I can let my hands touch my body here if I want, or I can hover them ever so slightly. Sometimes we go more like this, but right now I'm just a basic standing tree meditation posture. You let your hands hang, they go wherever they go. You hold yourself still for a moment, doing your best to stand straight so that the spine is straight. Watch your breath as I talk to you about this for our short meditation. Within you, it is often taught in old Taoist schools that within you lives what is called a still point. You sometimes see this referenced in the Zen circle. It's a circle with a dot in the center. The dot means center. In Taoist practice, Qigong practice, that is associated with what's called the Tai Chi pole. It's a pole. Comes into the crown, goes down through your being, and goes down below your feet into the ground, into the earth. It's a pole. And there's something that runs parallel to that pole. In general, it runs parallel to the pole. What is it called? It's called your spine. Breathing into your spine and beginning to work with your spine, that's a great idea. It's great. An idea that perhaps is slightly even greater is meditating on the Tai Chi pole, allowing the Tai Chi pole to influence your spine. Many of you have seen like the caduceus or Hermes staff. The staff is a metaphor for the spine. I don't know if anybody saw that. You maybe watch the video later. Some of you may have seen me just bump and almost like a jerking sensation where my shoulders went forward and there was an undulation in my spine. That's Kundalini. So as I'm talking to the Kundalini and talking to you about Kundalini, I just had Kundalini kind of zip through me real quick in a moment. Some of you may be feeling that. At any time, like always, if you need to rest and shake this out, please do. Need a sip of water, just rest, take a sip of water, come back. You can always watch the recording later. For those of you that want to stay with us just a little bit longer, keep practicing that stillness and keep practicing that idea of the Tai Chi pole and running parallel to the spine. And some of you will be noticing that your temperature is changing. You're going from hot, you might be getting hotter. Some of you already might be on the downside of that, where the temperature is starting to cool off. And some of you will be in the in-between, where you feel hot, but you also feel it chill a little bit. Kind of like a fever, but a lot more of a good feeling, much more of a good feeling than a fever. Because you can feel something good happening in your blood. And now if you'd like, go ahead and breathe in and make a little humming or toning sound. You can officially Om, or you can just hum. The body will respond to that either way. And it has a nice effect. I won't go into the details of it right now. Some of you already know. Maybe in a little bit, I'll tell you. Stay with it, make a little humming sound if you desire. Inhale, exhale, and then move that body, which is most likely stiff. When you do an exercise like that, your body gets stiff because you are lighting your emotional body, your pain body on fire. So then we're going to go ahead and move it out. So we're going to reach with the elbow. Some of you have done this one before. And notice what I do with my other hand. I just put it over here on my hip. So I'm going like that. So if you look at me behind, there's an elbow going this way too, but it's very relaxed. It's not like martial art or something. We're just stretching. Okay. Trying to get this angle, because that angle opens up the shoulder blade. If you go only down here to the chest, you're not going to get the same effect as if you go up here high to like the left side of your head, or high up here to the right side of your head. That's going to open things up more. And don't overreach, guys. Just reach with the arms, stretch. Reach with the arms, stretch. Because in here you also have a little twisting. Okay, like the one we do where our hands are like this. It should feel similar, but you're doing it from a different position. Reach, stretch. Reach, stretch. Reach, stretch. And then let's switch the hands. We'll do that one where you're reaching back like so. Hands are like this, pressing backward. Reaching. Breathing. Make sure you're breathing. And then switch and reach, stretch. And hand on hip, reach, stretch. Come down with the elbow first, then come up and slowly reaching over. And then come back, and one little inhale here, wash it away and down. Waterfall. Now, in terms of meditation, when we're making a movement like this exercise, do it with me again, bringing up the Sea of Chi. Right now, I want you to do this where you're walking the hands slowly, and there's no inhale. The inhale, exhale does whatever it's doing. Like, don't try and do it with one inhale and one exhale, but rather just slowly walking. And imagine you're squeezing the tissues, and at the bottom of your hand, out comes this like black gray gook. You're just getting it out of there. You're bringing the clean water here, clean water coming, clean water. And then from here, this soot. You're pushing it, you're squeezing out the blood, the toxicity, and out the hand it goes. We're going to continue just like that. This is a form of meditation and mindfulness. How the exercise is being done takes mindfulness. If a breath naturally comes, like on that one, my body being just wanted to exhale, then let it happen. But there's no emphasis on trying to breathe a particular way. Your focus is on squeezing, washing. Purging the arms in this case. The chest, the arms, the lymphatic system, purge. The veins. And one more. Whatever speed is comfortable for you. And then when you're ready, a purposeful exhale as you lean over when you're ready. Purposeful inhale as you come up. Purposeful, hold the breath in your lower belly. Purposeful, sit and exhale. Mouth, tummy somewhat contracted. Put it in the ground when you're ready. Inhale, exhale. And one last hold. Go ahead and hold our standing tree meditation with 2 middle fingers together. This one will finish up our session. I'm going to hold this one for approximately 3 minutes. Let me get my watch so I can give you an actual time frame so you have some idea. We'll be starting in 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, 1, starting now. Some of you may be feeling even more shaky than you were earlier. Again, if it's too much for you, don't do this round. Sit it out. If it feels great, by all means, keep doing it. But some of you will be noticing an increased shakiness happening because your insides are starting to quiver. That's called chi. That's the beginnings of Kundalini. That's the beginning of detoxing your nervous system. Stay with this as long as you can over the 3 minutes. So if you can only hang for a minute, cool. I'm just going to show you what 3 minutes is. Do my best to keep track of the watch here while I'm practicing with you. Give you a sense of what that feels like, what that looks like. We've done about 1.5 minutes, so we're about halfway there. Well, not quite, but. It's hard for me to think straight and focus on my Kundalini, which is setting me on fire. Feel very warm. And I'm a bit shaky. I'm a bit shaky inside. I almost couldn't say shaky. My words are stuttering. If it feels right, go ahead and yawn. If that comes in there. If it feels right, swallow if that comes in there. And also, if it feels right and you kind of yawn or something, then you might find yourself wanting to hum or make a little bit of a toning sound. And we're almost there, 30 seconds left. Inhale your breath. and go right back to being still. Those of you that are staying with this one, try and just stay with it here for another less than 30 seconds. Some of you, your palms may be getting very sweaty. And 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Take a deep breath. Reach, stretch. Oh. Let that come down, and then just unwind it here for a moment. Wind it. Smooth it out. That's why we're using this exercise now, different than what we did in the beginning. We used it as a warm-up. Now we're using it to just kind of smooth things out. Come back to this and just closing it out with a waterfall, walking down very slow. Leave your breath alone, focus on the chi only. Imagine you're kind of pushing this force field or energy, almost like pool water, but it's made of chi, and you're pushing it down towards your feet. And then you come up and the water, the chi field, whatever you want to, however you want to think of this, comes up to here. And then you're walking it down, like bringing the whole pool, the pool water, walking it down the pool, slow, 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 and then hold your feet, grip the floor, hold the lower belly. Inhale, exhale when you're ready. When you're ready, inhale. Exhale. One more when you're ready. Inhale. Exhale. And shake it out. All right. Excellent job, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me and bearing with our whatever's going on with Zoom. We'll see if we can clean that up today. I had to offload Zoom from my computer because they said they had updates. I had to do something new. So anyway, I don't know if that threw things off or what. Anyway, we'll get it figured out. Have a great day. Thanks for practicing with me, guys. The recording will be up in about a half hour if you want to go back and watch that and play with it some more. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, David.